So I'm going to start today's video off with a question. Let me know down below, what's one fragrance that you really want to own? You know, it's one that you've had your eyes on for a long time, you just don't have it yet. Could be designer, could be niche, could be something discontinued, designer or niche, something very expensive, something more affordable, doesn't matter. What's something that you just really want and you wish you had? So leave that down below. I'm genuinely curious. You know, maybe that'll fund a future video or something. Maybe that'll fund a giveaway. I don't know, but I want to know what's the most hoped for fragrance right now, especially with holidays coming up. You might get that for Christmas. But today what I want to do is go over a few reasons why it seems like everybody is buying clones right now. I'm going to go over those reasons, and I'm also going to sprinkle in a few clones that I really like. So we kind of have a list mixed with just some talking points as to why this is so common right now, so popular. Now, the first reason why I think everybody's buying clones, and this is by far the one that makes the most sense, that I think everybody would agree with, is that they solve a problem. And that problem that it's solving is the fact that a lot of fragrances these days are very expensive, out of most people's budget. Not only are the prices of fragrances going up, the cost of living is going up along with that. So, we're in a hobby where this is very, much a privilege to be able to participate in, right? When you have a little bit of extra money, you can go throw it at a couple fragrances or whatever. But with how expensive everything is getting, sometimes that could be a little bit more complicated. When you have designer fragrances retailing for $130, $140, $150 plus dollars, right? Upwards of $200, some of these elixirs and things like that. That is a ton of money. Now, they do hit discounters, but you're still looking at well in excess of $100, still looking in that mid $100 range for some of them, others a bit less. But we're getting away from the very common mid-range to upper mid-range pricing of, $50 to $80. Like, that is just not as common as it used to be as far as the variety of scents in that range. There's always going to be a few budget-friendly designer houses out there that will fall in there, but even that's getting fewer and far between. So clones offer a great solution to that, because you could get something that smells like, a $150 fragrance for only $25 or $30. That is incredible. A good example of that would be Genuine Man Reserve by Giovanni, and let me double check. Yep, I kind of figured. It's a fragrance world. So this one's a clone of Gentleman Reserve Privé by Givenchy. Now, in fairness, that is not an outrageously priced scent. You're around $90 to $100 for the 100 ml bottle. You can get the big 150 5-ounce bottle for $120 or so, which is a really good price per milliliter if you were to use that much. So it's not outrageous, but at one point, the Gentleman fragrances were going for $50, $60 all day long on discounters. That's where the eau de parfum was at for the longest time. That's just not how it is anymore. The second reason why everybody is buying clones right now, in my opinion, is because they've come a long way. So I've said this before, you're probably gonna, you've heard this if you've been watching the channel for a while, but when I first started out, and that was about 7 years ago, some of the clones were really good, others weren't, and there also weren't nearly as many. But man, it would be kind of often that you would come across a clone that just wasn't as good, wasn't as accurate, didn't perform all that good, quality was a little bit iffy, it just didn't hold up as well. And a good example of that, and this might ruffle some feathers, but the original Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man, the Eau de Toilette, I'm not talking the EDP or the Parfum or anything like that, the Eau de Toilette. At one point, that's all that existed. The opening on that one, it was rough. It kind of got dubbed as the Lemon Pledge scent, right? Smelled like a cleaning product off the opening. Whether you agree with that or not is, of course, up to you. But the quality on that one didn't hold up. Now, I don't think that was a bad scent. I think there are better options now, but at the time, that was one of the few Aventus clones on the market. And essentially, it was Aventus for 25 or 30 bucks. You just can't beat that, right? They have come a long way. All of the new Armafs, a lot better. All of the new clone brands popping up, Fragrance World, Latafa, Alhambra, all of that stuff. They're getting really good, almost scary good. And I think people are realizing that. You spend a bunch of money on a favorite of yours, And then maybe you decide, let's try a clone and we'll see how it is. And it ends up being almost indistinguishable sometimes. It kind of makes you rethink things a little bit. Latafa Camra Kwawa is a nice angel share twist. So it's got a little bit of that DNA, but a really prominent roasted coffee. And that's what I love it for. Actually, this is, it's kind of a clone with a twist, but really why I love it so much is just because of the coffee note. I love a good coffee scent, and that's what this is. Clone or not, it is a fantastic take on angel share, again, with a little bit of variety to it. The original Camra is really good as well, and also provides a little twist on angel share. Just that one would be closer than this one. This one just really doubles down on that roasted coffee, espresso accord, very sweet, almost has like a chestnut type of smell too. I mean, this stuff is incredible. It's a great powerhouse for fall and winter time. Another reason why everybody is buying clones right now is because essentially it's almost like a try before you buy. It allows you to try a more expensive fragrance without actually buying that expensive fragrance. Now, depending on the price of the clone, of course, it just depends. And it also depends heavily on how accurate that clone is. That's why when I cover a clone in a list or a review, I try to tell it to you as straightforward as I can on how close it is. That way you can use that as a metric. Now, this is where I gotta say, we do have a Decant website where you can purchase samples of high-end designer and niche fragrances at a fraction of the cost of buying a full bottle. That's another way to try before you buy. But, there's no denying that these clones do it too. If you could get a 100 ml clone of something for $30 versus buying a decant of that real fragrance for $30 for 10 ml or something like that, or even 5 ml depending on the price, it's something to keep in mind. Like I said, I sell the decants, and I'm telling you this, right, because it's true. So buying these full bottle clones, that could be a way to save money and try before you buy. Just be careful what you're shopping for. Make sure you look at some reviews, because if it's not accurate, it's just not a good representation of that scent. And in that case, you would be better off purchasing a sample of the real deal versus buying a clone. But I'm telling you, with a lot of these, you could get away with trying a clone first. And if you love that clone, chances are you're going to love the real deal too. And that's one you could purchase later on in the future. You could grab something like Eau de Spice Extreme by Mark and Victor, another Fragrance World gem here. It's a Spice Bomb Extreme clone. Now, Spice Bomb Extreme is not outrageously expensive. It's $90. Well, no, actually it's not. Well, actually, sometimes it is. It's 90 ml for, $100, $110. I think Joma might have it for, $90, $95 right now, maybe $98. Somewhere in the 90s, upper, mid 90s. But if not, you're usually looking at a little bit over $100. But again, 90 ml. So that does, richen the price per milliliter a little bit more of a premium offering, but it's more than worth it. It's a fantastic tobacco, cinnamon, peppery, spicy scent. And this Eau de Spice Extreme, it's a really, really accurate representation of that. Might be something to try if you want to see what Spice Bomb Extreme is all about without buying a bottle or a sample. Just pick up a clone. This one's really close. Now, next up, this one might be obvious, maybe not, but it's something that I think is important to put into perspective for people. And it's simply that you can just get more for your dollar. We live in a world where it's kind of like, well, I guess not everybody, but me, sometimes it's like I just want. I want things in excess. I have like an addictive personality when it comes to hobbies and collecting. That's how this started. I started out with a couple fragrance, and then fast forward, now I've got 1,000+ bottles over the course of 7 years. It's a lot, it's too much. And of course, it's also funded by this channel as well, but I digress. I just want, right? Cigars, same way. I have more than I will ever smoke in a lifetime now. For what? I don't know. And so when it comes down to it, if you're the same way, which I just think a lot of us are these days with social media and instant gratification and online shopping, if you spend $200 on one bottle, now that 200 is gone and you've got one bottle. If you spread that out over the course of, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clones or something like that, depending on the price. 2 would be a low number there, but 3, 4, 5, 6 or more clones. I mean, that could be a little bit more exciting. Now you've got a wider variety in your collection that you could use throughout the year with the same amount of money. So again, it's all about perspective. Nothing wrong with spending money on niche. I have plenty of niche as well, but if you're just starting out and you're on a budget, the clones are really attractive because you can just get so much for your dollar. Now, the next reason would be that, they sometimes will clone discontinued fragrances. And so if something of yours has been discontinued, a favorite, and you can't buy it anymore, you can pick up a clone. Perfect example would be Fragrance World Jack of Clubs. This video is not sponsored by Fragrance World, by the way. I have, quite a few of them in this video, I suppose. It's not sponsored by anybody, just kind of coincidence. But this one is a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, which is a favorite of mine. I love it, and I wish they wouldn't have discontinued it. But I've got to say, I don't really feel as upset anymore when I have a clone that is this close, because it really is close. It just has that kind of OG La Nuit de l'Homme smell to it with a bit of a modern twist. What they did with that Bleu Electrique DNA was incredible. So if you don't want to spend the money and try to hunt down that original one, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, pick up a clone for $35–40. Another reason why people are buying clones so much these days is because a lot of them can really compete with the original, especially the designer ones. So when you're talking a clone of, a Sauvage or some other kind of upper range designer, really, I mean, when it comes down to it, most people just will not be able to tell the difference in terms of quality and a lot of it accuracy as well, which I already kind of touched on accuracy, but quality is really what I'm talking about here. Guys, just because it's $30 doesn't mean it has poor quality. I mean, you would be absolutely amazed how good some of the quality of a lot of these clones are. Now, I shouldn't even say some. Most of them have exceptional quality for the price. And really, I mean, and this is no surprise, but a lot of these designer fragrances, I mean, they're marked up quite a bit. I mean, you can just tell when you've got one designer brand offering something at this price point and another offering something at a price point that is 50% more or something. Is it really 50% higher quality? I don't think so. So, and even same thing with niche to a point. You can only bump up the quality so much to where it's not going to be distinguishable to the nose, and then you're just paying for that brand and that name and that presentation. So a lot of these can really hang with the top dogs. And honestly, our Armaf Club de Nuit Untold, it's a clone of BR540 Eau de Parfum. It is exceptional. It is really, really good, very accurate, and amazing quality. BR540, it is ungodly expensive. I mean, if you go look it up online on discounters, it's crazy. Retail price is even more insane. That's just out of the books for most people. That's just a lot of money. And this one you can get, and you're just probably not really going to be able to tell a huge difference. Now, maybe if you've spent a lot of time with it, you might be able to tell a little. But when you're talking about everybody else around you in the real world who happens to walk past you while you're wearing this and they smell it, there's a 0% chance that they're going to know that it's, a $40 clone and not a $400 fragrance. So something to keep in mind. The last reason why I think everybody is really moving towards clones these days is that most of them have great performance. That's another issue where we're running into and kind of facing here is prices are going up on these, the designers and niche even, but performance isn't always meeting that criteria. With the parfums and the elixirs, a lot of times you are getting lucky and getting something that's better performing, but not always. And so a lot of these clones, they are beast mode. And I think they know that if they come in at a price point that's, $30 to $50 and it smells really close and they're able to bulk it up to the point where it just performs well, they know people are going to go crazy for the stuff and buy the heck out of it. So they're highly incentivized to make them last as long as they can. Where designer brands, they kind of just know that people are going to buy it anyway. And I think they also probably have an understanding that if they lessen the amount of money that they put into it, which is going to increase their bottom line, they can just get away with that too, because people are still going to be buying it. These clone brands are a lot more incentivized to just make a product that is exceptional for almost a dirt cheap price. So all the ones I talked about here today have really good performance. Most of them do. So that's another key factor in choosing to purchase a clone. Alrighty guys, there you go. That's some reasons why everybody's buying clones. You see all the videos, you hear all about them. New clones being put out left and right. Maybe you're tired of it, maybe you're getting annoyed, maybe you love it, but that's why. I mean, it's hard to go against a lot of these points. I mean, everybody's in a different financial situation that you can't judge and you can't control. So, people are going to do what they feel is best for them to advance in this hobby. Like I mentioned, I do have some samples available over on our website, decantcenter.com, designer, niche, even a couple clones as well. So if you want to check those out, you can. Free shipping over $49. We've got a great rewards program running a 10% off flash sale right now that's going to end Monday. So if you're watching this in the future, sorry, we just have a 5% standard, but a 10% right now, site-wide. Free sample in every order. If you're placing a big order, you might get a couple good samples in there. Got interest-free payments. If you're placing a big order and you just want to spread that out, you can do that as well. Plenty of reasons to go check us out and try before you buy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.